Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm Crystal, the Crystalline Priestess, intuitive evolutionary astrologer and psychic tarot reader. And today we have the full moon in Pisces, lunar eclipse horoscope and tarot reading. So this is a massively potent full moon that we have coming up on Wednesday, my love, if you're in Australia, Tuesday if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. But this is one of those moons that we are already feeling. I'm sure that you guys have already been feeling this eclipse building. Eclipses obviously are a much bigger deal than just your normal full moon. So my loves, I do have a screen recording that we're going to go through today. I'm going to show you guys my notes. I'm going to show you guys some really interesting nitty-gritty stuff about this full moon that I'm finding to be very, very, very interesting, very exciting, and just basically something that we all kind of need to know, in my opinion. So make sure that you pour yourself a tea, roll up a spliff, give yourself a glass of wine, whatever it is that you like to do to relax and chill, because I want you guys to relax, chill out, and basically listen to how much we have leveled up over the past 16 years. So without further ado, my loves, let's get into this full moon in Pisces lunar eclipse reading. Alrighty, my loves, so these are obviously my little notes, but we're just going to pull them over to the side here so that you guys can actually see me at the same time. Alright, hello! Welcome to me attempting to do this screen recording, and we'll see how we go, so please bear with me, my friends. I am awkward as hell. And plus, look, this eclipse is happening on my Chiron. I'm filming this reading today with the sun on top of my Chiron. I have a 23-degree Virgo Chiron, guys, so your girl is going to be probably stumbling around, maybe saying the wrong thing word-wise. I jumble my words up a lot, so please do bear with me if I sound like a retard, because it's a sensitive time for me. Okay, now let's get into this full moon. So, happening in Pisces on September 18th, 2024 at 12:34 p.m. Brisbane time. If you are in Australia, obviously adjust that for the time zone that you are in. We have the sun at 25 degrees of Virgo. We have the moon at 25 degrees of Pisces, right there with Big Daddy Neptune and right near Big Daddy Saturn at the same time. It's a pretty full-on full moon that we are under, my loves. And I think to me it feels really positive. It feels like a beautiful release moment. We also have Mercury, who is in an opposition with Saturn, almost exactly over this full moon. So that's interesting. And Saturn is retrograde still, and you know, Neptune's retrograde as well. So there's a lot of I think what that tells me, there's a lot of sifting and sorting going on through this eclipse. And with full moons in general, they're always a release. And when it's a Pisces full moon eclipse, this means that it's a really big time release. It's a bigger release than it would be if it was just a normal Pisces full moon. So the reason as well that this moon is also so important, and why I'm actually going to bring you two more charts from 2015 and 2008, because these are all connected, is because we actually have this eclipse as an intercepted eclipse. And what that means is that we have the North Node right now currently in Aries, 6 degrees of Aries, and the South Node is at 6 degrees of Libra, which is obviously also in a very tight square with Neptune, with Mars in Cancer, as we're actually having this full moon. So another a signature of emotional expansion is one word, but you know, that depends on how you're actually going to be navigating your emotions over this full moon. So for some of us, it's big emotional expansion in the sense that we're realizing how much we've grown and matured. For others of us, we might be flipping our lids. But you know, that's going to depend on how you're affected, how you've been doing your work, especially how you've been doing your Saturn work. So my loves, and Saturn came into Pisces on March 7 of 2023. So since March 7, 2023, really, we've been very much pulled into dealing with this work, preparing us, in my opinion, for this eclipse, because it is the final eclipse that we are going to have in Pisces, with Pluto being in Capricorn, and at the same time we have a really beautiful connection between Pluto and Capricorn and Neptune being the modern ruler of the moon, being in Pisces. That to me is really cool. The thing is, what I was just saying with the nodes being intercepted is the fact that the nodes are in Aries, but the full moon is happening in Pisces. So this means that the nodes haven't shifted yet into their new sign. So I'm not actually too sure on the date. I should look that up in my little database, but we're going to be here too long. But next year we actually have the North Node move into Pisces. So this is signaling to us that we have a whole new set of eclipses coming. The reason why this is very interesting is because having them intercepted, meaning that the node is in a different sign to where the eclipse is actually happening, this means that there's an extra little bit of, an extra little bit of, what do we call it? Pizzazz. There's an extra little bit of working through when it comes to this eclipse, because it feels as though there's this disconnect, with intercepted energies. And I have this in my chart. I have an intercepted North Node. And it's really an energy of having not been able to actually clearly see something for a long time. So with this interception, it feels as though, and it being a full moons are that moment of release and that moment of like seeing things as they really are. So it feels like this is that moon where it's like we're seeing things for how they really are. We're seeing the past 16 years for what it really is. This is a reality check on a whole new level, especially with Mercury being in an opposition with Saturn throughout this full moon, because it really is amplifying the Saturnian signature that we have really been experiencing since Pluto moved into Capricorn back in 2008. So it's a huge moment for us, and it's a huge moment for us to finally process where it is we've been trying to reach this entire time. What is the pinnacle that we've actually been searching for? Because Capricorn is reaching the top of the mountain. And so this to me feels as though it's a full moon where we're realizing where we've reached the top of the mountain in some area of our lives. In whatever area of the chart that it is affecting you, that's going to be the end of the road, in a sense. This full moon cycle that we have right now, with this full moon that we're having on the 18th, and then the next full moon eclipse, or the solar eclipse that we're having on the 3rd of October. These are the two eclipses. This month is the month of getting the last sort of shit out the door. Literally, it feels like cleaning through the last bit of clogged up plumbing that has to like be cleared out so that you can put in the whole new system is kind of the vibe that I'm going for, or that this eclipse is going for. Sorry, I'm trying to get my things out the way. This is the Virgo thing, like the Mercury in Virgo opposition to Saturn is like noticing the little things. And that I'm actually going to read you guys some of the notes that I made preparing for this reading, because like I sat and I was like, give me something, Spirit, give me a message, give me what it is that you really want us to sort of understand about this eclipse and about this big cycle. And the first thing that came to me was learn the value of the little things. Virgo energy. In the end of life, it's the little things that build into the great big things. So it's really talking about your health as being your greatest wealth. And there's so much about these eclipses that have such a signature when it comes to Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, when it comes to our health, our spirituality, and our sense of reality, how we're actually going about our daily lives. This is a huge moon to have us realizing where we've been either grinding it out too hard, we haven't been grinding it out enough, and I've been saying this a lot for weeks building into this reading right now. We are needing to understand our own structure in this life. We're needing to understand the plan. Where are we going? What are we doing? What are we aiming for? And not in the sense of being taken along for the ride. It feels as though with the South Node in Libra, and she's still near Lilith as we have this eclipse, it's very much this energy of not joining into whatever you think is the socially acceptable way of doing things. It's very much an energy at the moment that is asking you to decide on what your reality is meant to look and feel like, and to move towards making that actually physically happen. It's not about it is about grinding everything out, but it's not about grinding things out in a way that feels like it's actually taking you backwards. This is about realizing that if you're going to be grinding out, you might as well be grinding for something worth fucking while. I'm sorry to swear, but that felt like it needed that emphasis. Your connection to yourself will carry you into a beautiful new chapter. So the connection that you are actually having with you, with yourself, and with your spirituality, and with your health, with your daily life, and with your physical reality right now is what is going to carry you. And I wanted to say capture. So you could either be captured by your own self-sabotaging tendencies, or you could allow yourself to fully expand into the version of you that is ready to face those parts of yourself, you know. Pisces is self-undoing. It is self-sabotage, and I can tell you that as a Pisces Sun conjunct Saturn in the fucking 6th house. Literally, guys, this energy that we are under right now is my life. This is what I am dealing with all the time. It is the spiritual and the reality, and trying to master it both without it being absolutely unbelievably depressing. I'm just going to be honest, Pisces energy can be so depressing. And so with the opposition to Mercury, with Saturn over here, this really is a powerful time to see where are we causing ourselves anxiety? Where are we causing ourselves stress? Where are we overdoing it to the point where we're not even getting anywhere? We're just running around like a hamster on a wheel. This is an energy of being in between an old version of yourself and a new version of yourself. So your connection to yourself is what's going to carry you into this next chapter, because it's extremely important. And listen how fast my guides are like, go, 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 keep talking. It's so important that you really see what it is that you have to give in this new chapter as being valuable. I feel as though this has been a lesson on learning that we are valuable, that our reality is valuable, that our work is valuable, that what we do in the world really is valuable, because this whole transit, this entire past 16 years that we've had with Pluto being in Capricorn, it's been about earthy things. It's been about physical. It's been about reality. It's been about what are you aiming for. And I feel like this full moon is that culmination moment where it's seeing, did we achieve what we set out to do? What is the signature between 2008, 2015 and 2024? Now, I'm going to show you guys in a minute what I'm talking about when I'm bringing all that stuff up, but I'm going to finish reading you this. Letting go of the spiritual ways of being that have held us back. Learning to be in this world. Learning that we all have a part to play, and embracing our purpose. So it's learning to actually physically be in this world, because one thing Neptune and Pisces did was really take people outside of, you know, reality. Because the opposition of Neptune is Virgo, and so it was taking us away from reality, and this is the full moon that has got us having that reality check and needing to understand. Ace of Cups with the Three of Swords. We're ready to heal our perception of reality. We are ready to allow love in. And what is Pisces but ultimate compassion, forgiveness, self-love, infinite love? You know, it's Pisces is the energy, and Neptune is the energies of dissolving into the infinite, of deep it's just the most, you know, it's an energy that you can fucking barely even describe. Like, it's literally so otherworldly, Piscean energy. It's so ethereal that to have Saturn here in this opposition with Mercury is almost like this holy shit moment where it's like we're seeing where spirit actually has had our back this entire process, and throughout all of the different, you know, time slots throughout this journey, throughout this last 16 years, you've seen major growth in areas that were at one time felt like they were going to absolutely destroy you. With the Three of Swords being in reverse, this is us finally letting go of the things in our lives that have been pulling on our hearts and keeping us stuck. It's like the final, like, let go. Like, see how she's screaming. This feels as though this is an opportunity to finally just let that energy out. Let it go, let it be as it was. You know, we have the world coming out, the new chapter is arriving, the new chapter is here. And so it's time for us to start moving forward in the creation of that new chapter. We have Six of Swords at the bottom of the deck with the Eight of Pentacles, and to build that through letting go of the emotional shit that we've been holding on to throughout this whole process. There are a lot of emotions, and this is what Pisces is. It's look, and then we have the Empress and we have the King of Swords coming out after that. So it really is about having to have a clear mind and a more expansive attitude. This is really giving me an abundance mindset about what it is that we can actually achieve, what it is we can create. But with this Eight of Pentacles, it's about physically actually doing it. You know, like I was just saying, Neptune in Pisces is very much like, let's just think our way to manifesting this thing without actually physically doing the work. So this is one of those moons where it's like, oh shit, I have to put the work in. Oh shit, I have to dot my I's and cross my T's and do my thing. I have to be in the world. I have to do the real stuff. And so you know, what I was saying, this energy is very much in my chart. One of my biggest pet peeves on the planet is actually having to do things like, you know, contracts and things like that, or like filling out forms. You know, this is mundane life stuff, is honestly the bane of my existence. And so that's what this energy is trying to get us to clear up. It's trying to get us to no longer see the everyday reality as being a pain in the ass, you know, having to deal with our reality as being hell. I feel as though a lot of us at this point have been living in our own sort of personal hell in this really weird way. We have Void of Course missing coming out with the Aries, I Am, and Grand Cross Provoker. So I feel as though that is definitely justifying what I was just saying. It feels like something has been missing, and over this past 16 years it feels as though we've known that something's been missing, and that's what Pluto in Capricorn has been trying to help us to identify. It's been trying to provoke us into a new sense of understanding about ourselves, a new sense of identity physically in this world. What are we here to achieve? What are we here to do? What are we here to give? What are we here to actually be on the world stage? And so that means, what are you here to actually provide for the people? What are you here to actually do in the long term? Because Pluto in Capricorn is about transforming your long-term vision, your long-term goal. If I feel like things have changed dramatically at this point. We have your destiny at the bottom of the deck. And then Scorpio, I transform. And it came out reverse. So we've been denying ourselves this transformation for, you know, I feel as though we've nearly gotten close. I feel like in 2015 is probably the closest we all came to feeling as though we'd hit this transformation, you know, where we got to where we wanted to go. And now, you know, we're seeing where we didn't quite make the mark at 2015. That was a next step, but it wasn't quite now. Now, Pluto's at 29 degrees. Now, Pluto's ready to say, I am done with this last stuff. And I've said it a million times, but Eminem, cleaning out my closet. And you know what's crazy? Yesterday, actually, I had an Eminem song pop on while I was actually cleaning out my grandma's closet, cleaning out my grandma's stuff, and literally it was about him singing "Cleaning Out My Closet," and it was about, like, in the song he wrote, it was a song that was apologizing to his mother and saying that he wished he never wrote that song. He can't even play that song at shows anymore and stuff like that. Great song. I'll add it into the description if I can remember it and find it. But I thought this is exactly this kind of this Pluto Capricorn. Actually, I have no idea when that song came out, but let's Google it. But this is very much like the Pluto Capricorn kind of energy, coming to the end of 16 years and going, oh, I'm actually going to heal that. And you know, I think he brought out that song a few years ago, but basically what I'm getting to is getting to the end of the chapter now and saying, I forgive you, I release, I let go. And that's what this connection as well to Neptune is the releasing and the let go. So I feel like this is going to be in like 2005 or something. 2002, damn. Okay, so that would have been really cool if it was 2008, but I was like, nah, surely. I remember that song when I was younger. Okay, so basically what I'm getting at is the point that there's a huge 360 in a sense that we're all doing with this world and with this Aries I Am. You know, this is coming back to a new identity, but one that you also already sort of started to dabble with in the beginning of this. You know, full circle. This is a full circle moment. And we're seeing with this Void of Course moon missing what has been missing this whole time. And I feel like what was missing with the North Node being in Aries and with Chiron being there, what we were missing was confidence. What we were missing was the confidence that we have now to trust that we're actually able to do this thing and that we actually deserve it and that we actually can do this. So at the same time as this lunar eclipse, we do have Venus in an opposition with Chiron, which is again really amplifying, like, you know, this self-worth, this identity issue, this value issue, this need for us to understand, and plus because we also have Uranus who's in a really beautiful connection over there with Pluto as well. So we really are seeing where our values have increased to the point where we're seeing what we're actually worth. We're seeing how smart we are, how brilliant we are, how intelligent we are. We're seeing the truth in who we are and what we deserve and the reality that we're here to build, but we're still feeling a bit stuck in that old reality. And that's what this Pisces moon is here. It's here to bring in the new energy. It's here to let you start to release it. It's not going to be over until we've had that solar eclipse. But this is the moon where it's like the shifts here, the shifts have begun, because eclipses are always the changing of the slides. I've mentioned this so many times. I absolutely love the way my teacher fucking describes this. And honestly, if you guys want like the most insane, like my horoscope's gonna be fun, but like, look, honestly, go to High Vibe and go fucking tune into the Leo King's everything. Because if you think this is interesting, listen to him. I'm just gonna drop it at that, because he mentioned that, you know, eclipses are the changing of the slides on the projector screen, and I love that so much, because it's basically like the next point in our story, the next point in our story, the next point in our story, and it kind of breaks it up. So this is why I want to talk about two other charts at the moment. So back in February 2008, on the 21st, we had a total lunar eclipse that was in Virgo. So we have the sun in Pisces here, we have the moon in Virgo at 1 degree. Now notice that this eclipse was also an intercepted eclipse. We have the south node here in Leo, and we have the north node here in Aquarius. So in 2008, we had just had the north node move out of Pisces, and it was starting to move through Aquarius. And so now we're actually about to have the north node moving into Pisces, because the north node is currently in Aries. So interesting sort of flip that we have there. We have the south node in Leo, and so I feel like at this time, back in 2008, we were really focused on other people. And I remember this very clearly in 2008. I was in year 8, I was 14 years old, 13, 14 years old, and everything in my mind, in my world, was about popularity. Everything in my world was about the cool kids, and I could not handle that I was a loser. Like, it was literally, I hated it. I hated it so much, and there was nothing I could do, because where I lived was essentially considered to be, you know, where the losers were from. And so then that's very much like Aquarius, you know, and Chiron's there, Neptune's there. It's this illusion that because where I'm from, I must be a loser. And, you know, it's just this, it's this silly teenage thing, but basically that was the energy. We really were in this energy of wanting to, everyone wanted to look cool, and everyone wanted to be trendy, and everyone wanted to, you know, all this sort of stuff. And we're coming to the point now with this eclipse where we're realizing, you know, I'm actually not really giving an two F's about this whole trend thing, because Pluto, you know, he's already touched Aquarius at this point, and he showed us where if you go down the trending line of reasoning in this life, you are going to end up going down negative pathways, negative loopholes. That's why Lilith is with the south node. So this full moon, essentially this is how Pluto and Capricorn came in. It was with a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. So now we're closing out this Pluto and Capricorn with a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. The opposite. The opposite. See how it's a flip? We're flipping. We're flipping a pancake. We're cooking the other side. The other side's cooked, you know? It's great. I fucking love it. I think it's amazing because, you know, Saturn's here at 5 degrees of Virgo. This was the Saturn opposition. Saturn works in 7-year cycles. He hits you when you're 7, he hits you when you're 14, he hits you when you're 21, he hits you when you're 29, like give and take a few years depending on your chart. But it's 7-year cycles. And so now we're here at 15 years, 16 years after this happened. Saturn is now at 15 degrees. So he's already moved across, you know, it was back in back in March of 2023, like I said, when Saturn first moved into Pisces. So he started to oppose this eclipse point back in March. Well, not actually in March, he moved in, you would have started to feel it in March, but you would have started to really feel that by July, August, September, you know? So we have been dealing with this already for a year and a half. Saturn's only halfway through Pisces. He's just retrograded back here, and man, this is where my sun is. I got a 15-degree fucking Pisces sun in Saturn. Look where the bastard is. He's right in my Kazemi point, to be honest. This is crazy, actually. I didn't even realize that. I have realized that, but like not really realized that. That's wild. But that's why, and like I'm using myself as an example, and if you guys have been on my Instagram, you'd see me, like I've been trying to talk about this from my own perspective because this is the only way I can ever do it. I'm going to use myself as my own guinea pig. And so I'm looking at my own life and I'm going, holy hell, like I just said to you, I was so obsessed and all I really cared about was being popular. I wanted to be popular so bad. My dad was always telling us that we were going to leave my mum and move back down to, you know, somewhere else in Australia. And I had this obsession with, if we did that, maybe I was actually going to be popular. That's all I wanted, was to actually be popular. And like, I haven't even told my friends that. I've told my best friend that. But I only told her now that we're adults. I didn't even tell her when we were kids. So that's the Chiron. That's the wound. I felt like a fucking outcast, you know? And so Aquarius, we've all felt like outcasts throughout this whole Pluto transit. And so with Saturn being in Virgo when Pluto moved into Capricorn, and the fact that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, making Saturn the big daddy about this Pluto Capricorn transit. He was in Virgo. And so now we're closing this out because Saturn is now in the opposition of where he was when this whole Pluto motherfucking Capricorn shit bloody started. So guys, I just find that to be so cool. I find it to be pretty freaking freaky, as well as, you know, the similarities. We have the North Node with Chiron. We have Firefly, simplicity and childhood. So this is why, like, there is stuff coming up from childhood for a lot of us, and especially for the people that are watching this, you know, you're probably around my age. You are probably experiencing, like 2008 was probably when you were a kid too. I was literally a kid back in 2008. So this is about seeing, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have been a kid back then, but you were still 15 years younger. So you seem like a kid to the version of yourself that you are now. So it's about looking back on this time. Can you look back at what was happening for you around February 21st, 2008? Because there's something really important that happened then that is still alight in the back of your subconscious mind right now. It's still presenting you with something. We have Pelican, love and motherhood. And that's the thing as well. Pluto moving into Capricorn is in a direct opposition to Cancer. And so a lot of us, you know, and even, you know, actually, I didn't even realize this, but when we had this eclipse, Pluto was in opposition with Mars. We were about to have Mars in the next few days after this eclipse have his really strong opposition with Pluto. And so that's really actually insane for me, because my mother lost her business at that time. So that's crazy. So Pluto Cap and with opposition to Cancer, Mars in Cancer. That's crazy. But you know what too? We have Mars in Cancer for this full moon. So that's pretty intense. To have Mars in a similar space. Very interesting. See how there's similarities. Astrology is amazing in that sense. Like it just blows my mind just how on point everything is. So, okay, now that symbolized when Pluto first moved into Capricorn. Now let's have a look at the midpoint. Let's have a look at the in-between moment, which was a total solar eclipse in Pisces, March 20, 2015. Okay, so we have Sun and Moon, 29 degrees of Pisces, which is interesting because where do we have Neptune right now? 28 degrees of Pisces. Interesting. So now, once again, now is a culmination of that full moon. What was happening for you in March of 2015? For me, that's when I was deciding to move, actually. I was deciding to move to another part of the country, and I made a whole new group of friends in that time of my life, and I don't have a single thing to do with absolutely any of them anymore at all, and I wouldn't want to, but that was a really amazing time in my life because it really expanded me into a whole new friendship group, a whole new way of living. I became hardcore vegan. I became hardcore obsessed with animal rights and Abraham Hicks and spirituality and all sorts of stuff. So this was really when I took off in my spiritual stuff, and I got insanely into yoga. So actually, and it's funny here because in 2008 was when I tried yoga for the very first time. See how there's little things, there will be connections between every point on this journey that I'm talking about. So this eclipse, we had Saturn, no, sorry, I'm pointing to Jupiter. Oh, that was on top of me, Mars, bloody hell. So we had Jupiter here at 4 degrees of Sagittarius. Now, what degree was Saturn at when we had Pluto ingress and had this eclipse? the Virgo eclipse back in 2008, he was at 5 degrees. And so now we have Saturn here at motherfucking 4 degrees. So this was pretty much in an exact square to that eclipse. Saturn was. You can't make this shit up. So, you know, that was the next point. And because the reason Saturn works in 7-year cycles is because it takes him 7 years to square with himself, or to square with, or to oppose himself, or to, you know, it moves around the chart in 7-year increments because he's a slow-ass moving planet. So, by the time we had this eclipse in 2015, Saturn was at this exact square point. 7 years. The camera just ran out and paused. It took me about 1 second to connect it back again. Now we are back cooking with gas. And you know what's interesting here? We have the North Node in Libra. We have the South Node in Aries. 9 degrees. Where do we have it now? We have North Node Aries, 6 degrees. South Node Libra, 6 degrees. And now that is why I was saying we didn't have the confidence then. We didn't have the strength then. We might have had the excitement because Jupiter in Leo, we had the excitement, we had the joy, we had the, oh my God, I'm really feeling pumped up, I'm really feeling motivated, all that sort of energy. And plus, you know, I feel like this Chiron and Pisces with this Mercury, it really had us, and Neptune as well, it really had us maybe believing that that what we were doing was the right thing. You know, it had us in maybe a bit of a, I don't want to say false belief, but the way I'm sort of reading this, and I'm looking at myself to determine this, is the fact that at that time in my life, I pretty much started to build the person that I am now and that I've become, but I was doing it delusionally. I wasn't doing it to the point where I am now and I realized, oh, I need to actually physically like be in the world. I can't just like spiritually be in the world. Like, that was the stepping stone, but it wasn't the right way. You know, it wasn't the right thing. It feels like now is more so getting acquainted with the right way. Not that there is like a right way. And what I'm saying is that the way that you did it in 2015, the way you set up for this, you know, that whole chapter was not wrong in any way, shape or form. It actually provided you with the exact lessons that you needed to receive right now. Because the thing that interests me is the fact that Pluto was at 15 degrees of Capricorn when we had this eclipse, and look at where Saturn is now, 15 degrees of Pisces, which is in an exact sextile to where that Pluto was at the time. So we are seeing the growth. We are seeing where Pluto at that time brought something up for us to now realize at this point we've grown from. And I can see it so clearly to myself now. I'm just going, I'm actually doing this reading right now going, holy hell. This is actually pretty crazy. Oh man, I just spilled water all over myself. So something else I want to mention about just the fact that the moon and sun, this was a new moon eclipse actually. I think I might have said full moon a few times, but I did mention to you guys that I got fucking the sun on my Chiron right now, so expect me to make mistakes. But 29 degrees of Pisces is the most critical degree of the zodiac. 29 degrees and 0 degrees of Aries. So this was a massive moon to, I think, evolve us. If I'm as honest as I can be, I'm saying evolve us because I don't think that anyone at this point was really quite on the exact right trajectory. I don't think anyone was on the exact right path. Plus, with the North Node being in Libra, it was still, in my opinion, feeling a little bit connected to this North Node in Aquarius with Chiron and with Neptune being there, and this like delusion, like I still want to fit in. And I can definitely see that for me. You know, I was doing the vegan thing hardcore and I was obsessed with like, I don't know, anyone that's also got into that stuff, like let me know in the comments, vibe with me, but like Freely the Banana Girl, Raw Till 4 Diet, Bonnie Rebecca, like I was obsessed with like all those people that were like all high carb, low fat vegans, and you know, there was the Thailand fruit festival and everything that was coming in at that time, and like I wanted to be a part of that group so badly. The funny thing is that I actually never physically did anything. I actually look back on it now and I go, thank God I didn't put myself on the internet, because that is when I first started wanting to put myself on YouTube. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because I would have just talked trash for the past 8 years. It's crazy. But this is where I'm saying for us, we're all really needing to just look at these emotional checkpoints in our own lives and in our own reality. How have we been trying to please an ideal or fit into a group, fit into a setting, fit into an idea of what we think looks good on the outside? Because North Node Libra is about what looks good. It's about the aesthetic. South Node with Uranus and with Mars there, that would have been, you know, and plus, wow, I didn't even realize. But this is an exact square between Uranus and Pluto. So that would have been very, very much this year of spontaneously evolving into this different version of ourselves that at this point now we look at and go, thank you, but no thank you. You know, thanks, but not quite thanks anymore. Let's kind of like grow from that. I want to get an archetype for this eclipse that we had then. The Alchemist, look, transformation of both base motives and goals into golden wisdom. So I think that's the thing. Back here, I think that we did actually have some goals that probably we started to like dream. I think at this point we started to see the vision, and that's why this Alchemist is saying transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. I think that at this point now, with the eclipse that we are currently under, it's the culmination of this point now that the North Node is in Aries. And I honestly think that the Venus opposition with Chiron is really about us trying to heal through these wound issues that we have with our identity and ourselves, and not knowing, you know, just judging ourselves based on external shit. It's really about healing the identity at the moment, and the wounded ego is basically at this point, you know, that is probably what has caused a lot of the suffering throughout this transit. And when I say suffering, I don't mean that like this whole transit's been like a big thing of suffering or anything. I just mean that like Pluto always brings death and decay and difficulty. You have to deal with it, and it is going to feel like there's a level of suffering in that, because it's you having to deal with your deepest, darkest shit. And with it being in a square to Uranus back then, it would have had us, you know, having this spontaneous pull to try things and to do things, especially with Mars there, but it's with the South Node, to do things that probably, you know, we thought were the right way, but that they didn't end up working out exactly as we thought it would. We see that now. We can see clearly now the decisions we made then. That's why they're transforming now into golden wisdom. We can see where what we did in the past has actually turned into wisdom. Like nothing was lost. No mistakes were made. All you did was gather lessons. Then we have shadow attribute, misuse of the power and knowledge that comes through spiritual practice. And that's very much this energy. And Pisces, you know, Pisces is about spirituality. We are finishing this, all of these Saturns, you know, we're finishing this Pluto Capricorn cycle with a Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is about spiritual discernment. It's about being a student of life and a student of reality and a student of God. That is why Saturn was in Sagittarius at this squaring midpoint back in 2015. Because it's all been about our spiritual growth. It's all been about where our spiritual world needs to be in alignment with our physical world in order to actually climb the mountain, in order to get to where we want to go, in order to get anywhere. With the destroyer archetype coming out, it says releasing what is potentially destructive and preparing for new life. And that's the thing. I feel as though that's what this is now. It's preparing for new life, because we're seeing now what was destructive. The shadow attributes is intoxication with destructive power and destroying others' dreams or potential. And that could have definitely been something that was coming up in 2015 with that square to Pluto, is, you know, intoxication with destructive power, especially with Mars being there with the South Node. It can be an obsession with destroying and changing and everything needing to be let go. And I feel as though at this point it's like realizing where maybe we let go of too much. Maybe we ditched a whole group of friends, or we ditched a whole lifestyle, and now we're here 8 years later going, oh, actually I think I might like incorporate that back into my lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's obviously put it all where it fits for you, but it's definitely a moment of, like I keep saying, connecting the dots so that we understand where all these energies have been culminating to us to get to, because we're right here at the end. The next eclipse that we're going to have is on October 3rd, and it's going to be in Libra. We're going to have the Sun, Lilith, Mercury, and the Moon, and the South Node. So that's going to be, I don't think it's actually going to be as insane in the sense of like having like massive emotional releases. This new moon, full moon, new moon, oh my god, cannot speak. This bloody eclipse that's coming in October, because it feels like it's a very internal thing. It feels like it's a very, it's an internal reckoning essentially. But that will be our very last eclipse ever with Pluto in Capricorn. So this is literally coming to that point. It's coming to that ending era. We are in our ending era. You know, we are in that point where we're ready to go. Jupiter at 21 degrees of Gemini is extremely close to where that Mars was back in 2008. So it's all just feeling very auspicious to me. It's all feeling like we're ready to expand our mind now. We're ready to grow in our perceptions. We're ready to see things from a higher perspective and a more exciting perspective. Well, not exciting, but and from a perspective that actually calls us even closer into understanding what we have to give on this earth, that doesn't have to do with other people, that doesn't have to do with everything being about, you know, Lilith is there with the sun. So it's not about this Libra idea of everything looking perfect and having this great aesthetic and having everything look like it's on the surface worked out. We're working through the mud still. Chiron, North Node connection. North Node's moving towards Neptune. So to me, that is messy. We're needing to deal with the mess. And that's what all these eclipses have been. You would have probably noticed that 2008, messy. 2015, messy. 2024, messy. You know, messy. So it's cleanup crew. We're in cleanup crew time. We're in cleanup crew moment. We're in the time in our lives where we're cleaning up so much of the subconscious crap, because when Pluto shifts signs, all of humanity is going through a massive cleansing period. We would not have been born right now on this earth if we didn't want to deal with this Pluto transit. You know, we came here to deal with this Pluto transit. So the fact now that we have this eclipse on Wednesday, and even with, like, you know, the nodes are what trigger the eclipses being in certain signs. And so Mars being in a square with the nodes and being in Cancer, his most hated sign, and also, you know, Mars being the dispositor of the North Node, and then we have Chiron there as well. It's really an opportunity for us to learn to deal with our emotions in the healthiest way that we possibly can, and to deal with our physical lives, our personal lives. It's our personal shit that is getting in the way. It's this. And that's one thing I am going to mention. Humans are getting weak AF with this social media living, this way that we're showing up to reality. Everyone is just, honestly, look, it's weak. And so this is where we're needing to realize that people are acting weak. Like, you know, get over it. Start getting over stuff. Like the generations that came before us, the amount of grit that they had to have in order to get anywhere in life. This is this point in time where we're seeing the oppositions. We're seeing where we need to work with ourselves. Like I said, work with yourself in order to understand where you can go. Start emotionally nurturing yourself, and not... And when I say emotionally nurturing yourself, I don't mean like deciding to lay on the lounge all afternoon because you feel a little bit sad. I mean emotionally nurture yourself in the sense that go for a swim, because you know you always feel better if you go for a swim, and that's how you can process your emotions. Do something physically. We're in Virgo and Pisces energy. Mercury is about... in Virgo is about knowing that if you just do the little things in the moment, if you just do these things, they are actually what's going to provide you with ease. They're what's going to provide you with a feeling of freedom, because that structure and having an understanding of what it is you're doing and where you're going and all these little moving parts, they are actually what bring you clarity. Because when everything's messy in Pisces and everything's all over the place, there is not clarity. And that's why Neptune being here with the moon, the emotions over this is messy, you know. And so even with Venus being in this opposition with Chiron, we are messy, and so we're needing to learn to pick ourselves up even when things are messy, even when things don't look the best, even when things are all over the place. And we're also going to have people relying on us. This is Virgo energy. We're going to have people coming at us. This is work. We've got to deal with stuff. And my dog is being really annoying. That's why I'm saying that, because he's Virgo is just about basically doing the nitty-gritty everyday little things that, you know, you have to do. You have no choice but to do them. They're like I said, the thing I hate the most is having to do the stuff that you have to do. And so this is that moon where it's like, okay, I have to realize that I got to do the stuff now that I have to do. I have to face these parts of myself. I have to face the part of myself that doesn't want to face reality. That's what Saturn in Pisces is here. So my loves, I'm going to leave this reading there. Let's get one card of advice for this magical moon. We have the Knight of Swords in reverse and the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So don't be doing anything quickly. No swift movements over this full moon. Allow the energy to settle. I feel as though don't be making spontaneous choices. Don't be doing anything spontaneous, especially over this eclipse. Don't be trying to, especially the thing is here, money stuff could really be coming up for people, or resources and structure. Don't go running away from your responsibilities. This is the moon where people are going to be running away from their responsibilities. They're going to be running away from, you know, this is giving me running away from reciprocity as well. Like maybe a lot of people with the Venus opposition with Chiron, it's feeling like I am needing to just ditch everything and go, you know? It's feeling as though going your own way is an energy that might be like coming up, and especially with the Venus opposition with Chiron, relationships as well. The advice is to not decide on the whim that you're just going to go completely change your life and that you're going to drop all your responsibilities right now. Because all this energy in Pisces is saying, oh, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the hard stuff. I don't want to deal with the reality stuff. I don't want to deal with the stuff that I don't like. I don't want to deal with my responsibilities. This is the moon where you have to realize that with Pluto being at 29 degrees of Capricorn, you have to deal with your responsibilities. You have no choice but to deal with these responsibilities. They have been coming up for you incrementally since 2008 to 2015 to 2024. You probably have more responsibility now than you ever had, so don't let it come up and destroy you because you don't want to deal with this level of you that has to... You basically have to level up. You basically just have to work smarter and work harder on what it is that you're trying to do, who you're trying to become, how you want to live your life, because the lifestyle is really activated with this axis. Virgo and Pisces is about the lifestyle. It is about how you're living your life. The Wheel of Fortune. You know, so I love this because we are the creators of our experience in the way that we are the ones that control how we react. And notice how I'm not saying we are the creators of our reality. Yeah, we are. But also the planets and nature and God, and there really is this whole thing going on behind the scenes that we don't actually understand. So the Wheel and the Eight of Swords with the Queen of Swords here is about not getting emotionally caught up anymore. It's about literally having discernment and deciding I am not going to be taken down this emotional rabbit hole that's going to make me drop all of my responsibilities, all my dreams. That's the thing too with Capricorn being here. Like maybe we're getting to a point over this full moon where some of us are wanting to drop what it is that we've been building. We're wanting to drop the vision. We're wanting to drop the mission because it feels too hard. It feels too overwhelming. It feels like there's too much. If you can stick this out right now, if you can stick it out and make it through, if you can keep doing the thing, you know, there's a lot of psychological expansion going on. The Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus all being towards their final degrees in each sign is insane. We have all three outer planets, all three major planets that are talking about psychological evolution are all doing really strong shit at the same time. So we are actively in a really strong portal of, I want to say healing, but I want to say, you know, reality meeting true, authentic spirituality. And that to me is Queen of Swords. You know, knowing when you have to be the one that tells the truth. Knowing when you have to be the one to say it how it is. When you have to cut something out. When you have to do something differently. When you have to be more disciplined. When you have to change your approach to something. The Queen of Swords makes that cut. She makes that decision. She does what she needs to do. The Eight of Swords is too afraid to do anything. The Eight of Swords is caught up in their own mental bullshit. And so that's the thing with this whole cycle having been about Saturn in Virgo, Saturn in Sag, Saturn in Pisces. It's about anxiety. It's about your own mental health. It's about how you've been dealing with your emotions. That's why when Pluto moved into Capricorn, we had Mars coming into an opposition straight away because we instantly needed to start facing our emotions. And that's what Pluto in an opposition to Cancer this whole time has been. Facing our emotions and not being weak in the face of those emotions. Pluto Cancer generation wasn't weak. Pluto Capricorn generation kind of is. Just saying it how it is. I'm not lying. Tell me I'm lying. You know, obviously not everyone. Obviously not everyone. I'm not saying that everyone that in Pluto Capricorn generation is going to be weak. But basically, that is the generation that is struggling the most. So the mental health shit with this Saturn Pisces stuff, this Virgo stuff with Mercury, it's absolutely integral for your own mental health that you stick to your responsibility. That you stick it out, that you do the hard work, and that you do the hard shit. Because if you take an opportunity over this full moon to just drop out and to just, I just heard drop out of the race, to just like, you know, run away. That is what is going to leave you feeling like you just failed this whole 16-year transit. Not that you ever can fail, in my opinion, but with Temperance in reverse and the Five of Cups, you're going to see where you actually are losing. Because to ditch what it is that you've built over this time and to just decide over this eclipse, on an eclipse, that you're going to give up on the life that you've been sort of trying to build and manifest for this whole 15 years, and to just ditch it and to decide, oh well, I just don't want to hold the responsibility anymore. That is what is going to leave you feeling really sorry for yourself. Prostitute. It's about money. A lot of us, it's going to be about money, and that makes a lot of sense because look, the recession, the global financial, oh my god, look, and then we have the beggar. I keep trying to get out of this reading and stop because I'm getting to like an hour and this is going to take me 6 months to edit and 20 months to upload, but it just keeps going on because this is on point. Now we have the beggar archetype coming out, which is so this Chiron opposition with fucking Venus, as we have this intercepted freaking eclipse. The light attributes is confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. And that is the thing, self-esteem, compassion, humility. So many of us are just feeling, I don't have the money, I don't have the money. It's about money. A lot of us are feeling afraid of the money thing. Because like I was just saying, when Pluto moved into Capricorn, this is when the global financial crisis began. Now we have Pluto at the end of Capricorn. People can't even afford homes anymore. And what is that? An opposition to Cancer. What is Cancer? The home. Mars in Cancer. So this was always going to deal with Mars being in Gemini and moving towards Cancer. This is the environment and the home. This was always going to end up with all of us essentially coming to a point of feeling like, and this is why the weak stuff's coming up, because I think this whole transit has really been building into the opportunity for politics to move toward socialism and to move towards Marxist thinking. And if you don't know what that sort of stuff means, I want you to look it up, do your own research. But that sort of thinking comes up because people want to feel protected, they want to feel safe, they want other people to fix it for them. You know, relying Pluto, government, relying on a government or an external source to provide for you what you think that you need, especially financially, is going to leave you disempowered. It is going to leave you feeling like you don't have what it is not a healthy thing. If you look up communism on any fucking country, in any country, look through history, look at what has happened. This is why you can see it coming in now with Pluto moving towards Aquarius. This is the realization that everyone has become too afraid to work their own work, to do their own thing, to stick it out, to do the hard work. I'm not saying everyone, but this is just a basic collective energy, you know? And we just have to confront that. We just have to see the fact that it's true, it's real. You know, people are afraid, they're really afraid at this point in time around finances and around money and housing and all these sorts of things. And I'm not denying that whatsoever because that's legit. But what I am saying is that we need to be really careful about thinking that South Node Libra, that a group or a collective socialist idea is going to be helpful in any way, shape or form. Because it's not. I can promise you that. Anyway, the prostitute archetype accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. The shadow attribute places material considerations and security above personal empowerment. So that's it. It's material security above personal empowerment. And that's what this Venus opposition with Chiron is. If you are someone that doesn't have a solid sense of identity over this full moon, and look, watch for it in your own lives. Watch for it in the people around you, you know? Watch for it in just life in general. Look at where people are starting to drop out. Look at where people are getting too afraid to now keep working through the work because they don't like the hard stuff. They don't want to face the hard stuff. This is very much, I don't want to say that it's dark because this is probably the darkest part of what this whole eclipse feels like it's bringing up, is the fact that there is a huge collective fear around resources at the moment. Shadow attribute of the beggar is dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. And that is exactly what I was talking about with this socialist, Marxist, really, really effed up way of thinking. because it's born from the idea that everybody will be given equal, when the reality is that any time that has ever looked at happening, that has resulted in absolute chaos and hell. So we're having to confront as a collective where we just need to man the F up, and we need to do the work, and we need to try harder, or we need to do more, or we need to, you know, and I'm not like trying to give you this hustle mindset, pro-capitalism, yeah! I'm trying to make it clear that with Pluto's square back in 2015 to Uranus, who was in Aries, now Uranus is in Taurus, this was an identity crisis is the word I just heard. Identity crisis. And so it's come to this point where we're now seeing where we have to put in the work. If we want anything valuable, we have to stick it out. It has to be long term. It has to be something that we're fixed energy. Taurus, you know, it's about sticking it out and continuing on that path. And Uranus being in Taurus is difficult because Uranus, it's an unpredictable energy, and Taurus really wants predictability. And that's the thing as well. The collective, we don't want this unpredictable energy that's really uncomfortable, where we're going, is there money? Is there not money? It's feeling really scary, and I can understand that. But what this eclipse is trying to bring us to is the realization that by being in this beggar and this prostitute energy, we are completely disempowering ourselves. We are leaving ourselves completely at this vulnerable energy to just basically been like carried along for the ride. We have the father archetype coming out that says dictatorial control and an abuse of an abuse of authority as the shadow attribute. So what we're really needing to do is focus on the light attribute, which is a talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit. This is about supporting life. It's not about taking away. This is about giving. And it's about understanding what we have to give. It's not about running away either. Then we have the last archetype as the eternal child. And I feel as though this is the antidote. Light attributes: determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit, and an ability to see things with fresh eyes. And that's what I feel as though this moon is your greatest opportunity to receive. In the past, literally 16 years, this is the moon that says, here's your opportunity to see things with fresh eyes. Mercury opposing Saturn, while the moon is in literally a little sandwich between Saturn and Neptune. You know, this is seeing things from a different perspective, a higher perspective, and in a way, that higher perspective is looking at things from a really, how do I say this? Like, it feels like a really standard, this is what it is what it is vibe. Mercury in Virgo, opposing Saturn. It is what it is, tell it how it is, face it, and watch how when you face it, everything, all the fear around it, all of the chaos around it, it starts to dissolve. But you have to face it, because Lilith in the South Node doesn't want to look at the ugly parts of reality, doesn't want to look at what looks like shit, doesn't want to look at the discomfort. North Node, Aries, Chiron, Venus opposing Chiron says, look at the discomfort, look at the hurt, look at the pain. This full moon is saying release it, because it's a magical opportunity. At the same time, moon with Neptune, beautiful. Neptune, super duper close to where this full moon, new moon in Pisces back in 2015 eclipse was. That was the moment of like, holy fucking shit, I'm completely changing, ready to go on my new journey, you know. And it's slow. These energies are subtle. It's not like, you know, you have the eclipse and the next day you're like, I'm a new person. It's a subtle building, you know, but these are the moments that trigger it. And so this is your moment to diffuse this. The shadow attributes of the child is inability to grow up and be responsible, extreme dependency on others for physical security. So this is, I don't know how else to say that. That was literally just fucking perfect. I feel like universe just threw me a bone and basically just said exactly what I've been trying to say. I'm going to read it again. Inability to grow up and be responsible. Extreme dependency on others for physical security. And that is this opposition between Pluto and Cancer. Cancer doesn't want to grow up. Cancer wants to be comfortable, wants to feel snug, wants to be snug as a bug in a rug, curled up at home on the TV, feeling like it's in its little shell and doing its thing. Pluto is forcing with Mars especially being in this square, it's forcing you to start to man up, grow up. You need to be responsible for your life. You need to be responsible for your actions, your emotions, your feelings, your money, all of these things. You are responsible for it. It is not up to somebody else to fix it for you. And that is the energy of this entire collective. This is what everybody needs to learn. It's not up to the government to fix it for you. It's up to you. It's up to you. We are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit. And this is the moon to tell you, to remind you, you are so powerful. Take it in, take it on. Just ran out and we are back on. You can do this, you deserve it, and just, you know, this is the time. This is the time to let it all go because you deserve this new you. You deserve to have this behind you. You deserve to move into this version of you that is no longer afraid to be strong and to be powerful and to be the high achiever and to be the person in the room that other people are fucking relying on. Like, take it in. Understand that in order to grow up, you have to take initiative and you have to do the things that you don't want to do. Virgo. So my loves, I'm going to leave this reading there. Oh my god, that was long, that was deep, that was detailed. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please do let me know in the comments what is going on with you. How has this eclipse been affecting you guys? What has been coming up for you in 2008, 2015? And now, what are the vibes? For me, it's been crazy. I've told you guys my story, but I want to hear yours. Do make sure that if you enjoyed this, if you resonated, you give it a like, because that really helps to spread my videos to more other astro nerds like you and me, and we get to have these amazing chats together. So I love you guys. I really do appreciate you for sticking around. If you are still here, you are the bomb diggle. Don't forget your channeled song. I would like to thank your angels, your ancestors, your higher self, your spirit guides, and all the beautiful benevolent beings that are surrounding you and I in all moments for allowing me to receive and to deliver this amazing message to you guys. I really, really love you. I hope that you have the most healing and most sovereign and just most high vibe, reciprocal full moon eclipse that you could possibly have in Pisces, because it really feels like such a divine opportunity. And I just feel like the people that are connecting with me, it is a time for us to level up into the best versions of ourselves that we can be, because we are here for so much more than we thought that we were back in 2008. I love you guys so much. Fuck yeah. I will see you in the next one. Peace.